Hi, and welcome back to Grow It Anyway. Let's talk tomatoes. I am obsessed with tomatoes. I grew several different varieties last year, and we're changing up our garden this year, so I've got more room to plant. So come along and see what plants or what types of tomatoes we're growing in Zone 7A. Welcome to Grow It Anyway, where imperfect gardens still grow. If your plants don't look Pinterest perfect, you're in the right place. So come on, let's grow it anyway together. So this year I have pared down my tomatoes to 5 different varieties. The first variety I have chosen this year is the 4th of July. This is a really great, oh my gosh, they're eating my things. So I've got little snipers coming in here trying to get more cabbage. Shoo, shoo, Goldie hen. So annoyed. Okay, where were we? So let's talk varieties. So the first variety I'm doing is the 4th of July tomato. This is just a Burpees organic seed. And the reason I'm doing 4th of July is it just really produced quite well. They're great slicing tomatoes. They're not like the gigantic beefy tomatoes, but I mean, they're really good salad tomato. I thought the flavor was really good. And let's see where these are. So whenever I seeded, you guys know I use the little 6 cells. And whenever I seeded them, you know, I overseed each tray. And what I didn't expect is that every single seed, literally every single seed germinated. I was shocked, pleasantly surprised, but I was shocked nonetheless. So these are my 4th of July seedlings. All seedlings look pretty similar, but I did these 227, so a month ago. I mean, that's pretty good. And look how healthy they are. They're just really good. I do this every time I come in here, so their stalks are getting really nice. And I don't know if you can see that little hairiness on there? Whenever I am going to put these in the ground, I will bury them fairly deep. Because all of these little fuzzy things are potential roots, because tomatoes are a vine plant, which I don't really know that. The next one that I am going to do this year is one that I also did last year. I just bought it from the nursery, kind of like the 4th of July. And this is a Big Mama hybrid. Now the same situation happened. I had just a little 6 cell. And from the little 6 cell, you guys are not gonna believe this, I got 28 plants. I have 28 plants of Big Mamas. So I put out a call to my community and said, ladies, I don't have the real estate. And if you do the math, if I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I've got 6 cells of tomatoes. 6, 7. I have 7 6 cells of tomatoes, and I'm getting, let's say, call it 30. I mean, y'all, that's like over 200 plants. So I had no intentions of starting a nursery, but here we are. Okay, so the Big Mama hybrid, let's talk about it. It is a big Roma tomato. I mean, it's a Roma. It's good for paste. I've got probably, I don't know, 4 gallons of just the Big Mama hybrids. They are a very big tomato. Great for salsa, great for sauce. Really, really good tomato. So that again just thrived last year. So I am super excited about it. And the Big Mamas, I mean, like I said, I got 28. So I'm really happy about that. I'm doing one of my grandpa's favorites. He grew this all the time. And it is, you guessed it, the beefsteak. The beefsteak tomato, everybody loves this tomato. So I have such great memories of the beefsteak tomatoes. My grandfather grew them every single year. He had the most massive tomato plants. And he I have no idea. I'm sure he was not an organic farmer or gardener, because I know for a fact that I played in Sevens dust. It's probably as a kid. And so, but the beefsteak tomatoes, I mean, they were so great. I mean, fresh from the garden, and you just eat them like an apple. They get 1 to 2 pounds per fruit, and it's just one of my absolute favorites. So I don't need all of these little beefsteakers, but yeah, that's what we got. All right, so the next thing, I did something different. I did have Romas last year. I had the Big Mama hybrids, and I had some other just San Marzano. The one I'm trying this year that I've never done before, I've always done indeterminate tomatoes. What does that mean? For those of you who don't know, an indeterminate tomato is one that just keeps bearing fruit. A determinate tomato is one that it will set fruit within a couple weeks, and that's all the fruit you're gonna get. So I bought this year, because I wanna make a lot of sauce, much more sauce than I was able to last year. I got a Roma VF. I'm not really sure what the VF stands for. I'm sure somebody will know, but it is a determinate tomato. So it will only, it'll have all the fruit all at one time, and we'll have it to harvest all at one time. And the reason why you would do that is because you want like a big harvest all at one time, so you can then sit down and you don't have to freeze them to get a bunch to do a sauce, or if you're doing a production line salsa. I couldn't find my packet on this, but this is one of probably my absolute favorite tomato. It is called a Cherokee Purple. And this is a variety that is an heirloom variety. If you've never grown it, you can see how dark. I mean, these are really dark purple. Underneath, there's really dark purple leaves. The fruit, it's not a traditional red fruit like you would have on regular tomatoes. It's green. It kind of like starts when it starts ripening, it turns brown almost, and then it just kind of deepens into this really deep purple. When you slice it open, it is absolutely beautiful. It's got this beautiful purplish interior, and the taste of it is just so rich. I don't know any other way to explain it, but it's very, very rich. So I will always have Cherokee Purple. We're still talking tomatoes. Fast forward, that last video was me whenever I was potting up all my tomatoes that I had basically seeded. I believe it was February 26th. Now it is the second week of April, and do you know what that means? That means that it is tomato planting day. I have to give you an update on the tomatoes. Look at these guys. We have over 100 tomatoes to plant. Do I have space for 100 tomatoes? Absolutely not. Are we going to plant as many as we can? Yes. I ended up with over 200 tomatoes, and thank goodness I have a fantastic community that gardens as well. But I wanted to give you, and I've given at least 100 plants away, and I still have way too many. So we'll be giving those away as well. However, I wanted to give you an update on what size the tomatoes are, how they're doing, and that sort of thing. I showed you, I think, that little beefsteak tomato, or no, the Big Mama tomato that I potted up. Well, I had to pot it up again because it had gotten so big. Look at this mama. She is huge, and we've got to get her in the ground today. The other varieties that I planted the first one was the 4th of July, and we were just potting up those seedlings. They're starting to need some support, but look at their stalks. Their stalks are great. We've got these suckers that we're gonna take off. But this plant is probably, I don't know, 2 hands high, so probably about a foot high, a little less than a foot high. but we're real pleased. So the 4th of July is going in today. And then remember the Roma VF. These are our determinate tomatoes. You can see they're kind of a little smaller. They're a little bushier. These are determinate tomatoes that are going to set fruit all at one time. So that's that one. She's looking great. We've got the beefsteak tomato. He's a big boy and he is well over a foot tall. And then last but not least, my very favorite, Cherokee purple. So the next piece is that yesterday we got everything mulched down in the garden in preparation for the tomatoes going in today. And I finished up my irrigation. And I've got, I think, 10 beds down there. And we think that we can put, they're about 8 feet long. We can put in a tomato plant about every 2 feet. We've got 3 rows. So we've got 3 rows like this, or like this. So in the first bed here, we're gonna put all of our determinate tomatoes there. The reason being is they're not gonna get as gigantic and grow as tall as our indeterminate tomatoes. Our indeterminate tomatoes that set fruit all year, they are gonna get much taller. So we're gonna put those determinate variety, the whole first row. So we're gonna have 16 feet of determinate tomatoes at least. We'll see how many plants we feel comfortable getting in there. It's time to get them out. Some people are going, wait a week, wait a week. I'm not waiting a week. I don't have the real estate to wait a week. And I'm starting to have some issues. So let me show you this. So you see that the leaves are starting to curl. It's looking a little sad. It's still a perfectly healthy tomato, except that it's getting root bound. So that's why it is starting, those leaves are starting to curl. So I have an option. I can either go ahead and it definitely needs some structure here, like it needs some supports. I can pot them up like this Big Mama and wait another week. Or I can just go ahead and plant them in the garden today. I've decided I'm going to go ahead and plant them in the garden today. Technically, today is the day. It is April 5th. Our last frost date is April 15th. However, in zone 7A, and so I've went ahead and determined that I've checked the forecast, we're going to put them in the ground. And Lord knows I'll probably keep some back in the greenhouse just in case these don't survive this first week, if they have shock or what. You've got me through the seeding process. We've potted them up. Now the next thing before we put them in the garden is you have to harden off your plants. Hardening off your plants means you've got to take them from the wonderful, heated, protected conditions in the greenhouse and get them out into the real world. It's kind of like daycare. You don't just throw your kids into the world. You've got to get them in school and in daycare. So basically, I've been doing daycare with the tomatoes. They've been coming out. This is about a 3-week process for me. I've been giving them more wind. I've had the windows open in the greenhouse, so they're getting a lot more wind. We have taken them outside, so they're getting some full sun. And I only put them in the sun probably about maybe an hour a day, unless it's super hot. I started them in the shade, went to the sun, and now we've done that for 3 weeks. And not every day. I've not been doing that every day. We've had some insane winds and weather. But we are going to get them out today. They're ready. I'm confident we can throw these puppies in the real world. And if not, we've got holding some back. We're going to plant today. Super exciting. So come on, let's get some of these in the ground. Best day ever, tomato day. we're in the garden, and let me show you where we're going to be planting the tomatoes. So just to orient you, so there's the main garden there. This space back here is all for tomatoes, all of that. So we've got those 6 there, and then where I'm standing, I've got this one there and that one behind me. So the next thing we have to do is we have to lay out the plants. Okay, so now we've placed all of the tomatoes. We've got them out, and we can figure how many can we get in each bed?
7.
We can only get 7 in each bed, so now it becomes Sophie's choice. We have to figure out exactly how many of our things. I think that so this would just be 14, 14 Big Mamas in there. I think we're close to that. But then it came down to how many 4th of Julys do we want? I've got way more than 14 there, but I want more beefsteak and 7 beefsteak. So anyway, we've got some math.
We have 100 plants, but we only have room for 56. Need a larger garden.
Yeah. Ugh.
Ain't happening this year.
No. Okay, so we're gonna figure this out. All right, let's place these. So we went ahead and got a stick and just measured at 18 inches, which I really advise that you do like 24, especially for indeterminates. You needed about 2.5 feet. Unless we're going to do aggressive pruning. I plan on aggressively pruning these to where basically they're just a stick. But we won't be doing that for the Roma VF, the determinate tomatoes, because we need them to set all their fruit. So yeah, let's see how many we can get in here. No, we need it right at the end because, yeah.
We only got 6 in that bed.
Well, it's because we can't put up that one right next to there. You see what I'm saying?
We only got 5 in that one.
Well, then let's put another one. Let's just it's pretty close together. Put one at the end here. That's 7. Oh, I'm probably going to regret this. All right, let's just put one more right here. What do we think?
I think that'll work. I do.
Okay.
I mean, they'll grow together, but I mean, they got plenty of root area, in my opinion.
Well, it's not the root area that matters. Whenever they grow and they bush out, they have to have really good airflow. And with the determinate tomatoes, you take off the suckers, but you don't really prune them as heavily as we normally do, like our other ones.
Indeterminate.
Our indeterminate ones. Yeah.
We're gonna give it a shot.
Yeah, let's give it a shot. We're gonna give it a shot. All right, gonna do 1, 2. We got 6 more beds. 6 more beds. Okay, so we've placed all of our plants. You can see behind me. Got all of these placed, and we've got the ones placed up here. On the indeterminates, I did put them at least 18 inches apart because I am going to aggressively prune these. I put the determinate tomatoes, I put in all that I had. I don't think that we had any of those left over, did we?
I don't remember.
I don't think we did either. So how many plants do we have?
51.
We have 51 plants, which is 20 more than did you say 20 more than we did last year? And that's a 60% increase in tomatoes. All right, so now it's time to plant. So like I said earlier, I am doing the tomato planting a little different this year. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the trench method with this. So the first thing that we have to do, I'm taking back my mulch. And underneath here, I don't know if you can see it, I've got a soaker hose. And then I take it out of the pot. And essentially what we're going to be doing is we're going to be planting it like this with just taking the crown and barely sticking it up. So we're going to have to get rid of all of the leaves below this point. So they're pretty tender leaves, like the first leaves. I can just pluck these off. So essentially you're just going to have this part of the plant. And then I need to dig a trench. So I'm going to dig a hole right here where my root ball is going. And this is like one of my favorite little planting tools. And then I'm going to dig a trench. Let me get this mulch back a little bit more. Okay. So now that I've got that, I'm going to just bury, and it's a little deep. I'm going to bury it about, I don't know, what is that? A few inches from the surface. Cover that up really good. And then here, I'm just bending up my plant, not doing it at a 90 degree. It's kind of going to be facing, it's going to be facing a downward slope here, but it will right itself. It'll start going towards the sun. I just pat it in like we do our seeds, and then I cover it with my mulch. Okay. All right, and that's going to make it to where it is has more of a root system and closer to the surface. So we'll see. Now, the very end of each bed, like down here, the very first one, we're going to do our little experiment where I'm going to just do the deep method and see if these produce more than the other or if they're about the same. We'll see. Okay, now we're going to get all these in. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the deep method on this plant. So I am going to take off these bottom leaves, just like we did on the trench method. I'm going to take everything off to this point, so stripping everything below, and then I'm going to dig a hole. So let's do that now. All right, so now we have, how many did we have done? 14?
14.
About 35 more to go. So it is the end of the day, and I'm going to show you what we got accomplished. Okay, so this is our big Mama Roma tomato bed. And I put in some basil and some marigolds just as companion plants on my normal companion plants. So we did the trench method. Like I told you, we're going to put each of those up and down. This will eventually straighten out, so it'll be over here. So maybe a little close together, but we're all right with that. And then this is our beef steak. Again, in with the companion planting. Not bad. And then up here are all of the Cherokee purple. 4th of July. And here I planted by seed today. I just did some purple basil. So we'll see if that comes up. If not, I'll have to get more basil plants. And then last but not least, our determinate tomatoes. And look at those basil plants. Those are the ones that I seeded. Those are all of our bush variety nasturtiums, parsley. So yeah. So yay, happy tomato day. We're done for the day. I am getting ready on all the other beds. We started some companion planting today and put in the rest of our lettuce and in our cattle panels. So thanks for joining me today, and we'll see you next time.